what is a lease option agreement? Well, a lease option agreement is when you buy a property now, but you pay for it later. And you can do this on land, you can do this on residential houses, you can do this on commercial houses. Geez, we have people come on the lease option bootcamp, they stop doing lease option agreements on businesses. On businesses. Maybe you can even do a lease option agreement, partnerships. All kinds of stuff when you grasp this. This is a worldwide way of doing things. Now the really interesting thing is, poor people get encouraged to do buy now, pay later on liabilities. So poor people get encouraged by the adverts and by the media to buy a sofa now and pay for the sofa later. Now, is that a stupid thing to do? Not really, because you're keeping some money back, and we know that money shrinks over time. So if you've got to pay for it later, then good. So it's not bad, but it's okay. But is the sofa going to go up in value or down in value once you sit on it?
It's going down.
It's going down. Unless I'm sitting on it, right? Then maybe it goes up. No, I'm just it's definitely going down. It'll break. Okay? So a sofa goes down. What other things do the media and the adverts encourage you to buy now and pay for later? Cars. Perfect example. What will you do? What's like a typical kind of, what do they call it? A PP something? PCP? What does that stand for?
Personal contract hire.
Personal contract hire. And how does a PCP work? Personal purchase, whatever it is. But how does it work? You put down a small deposit, then you pay a small monthly fee, and then at the end of the term, usually after about 5 years, they give you an option. And they give you an option to do what? To pay a balloon payment, as they call it. If you guys bought cars this way, you have, Sam?
Yeah.
It's Sam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You bought a car this way. Did you buy it at the end?
The other day. No, I've just traded it to get a new one.
You traded it. So at the end, you have the option to buy the car and walk away, or to give it back, get a new one, or to just walk away. And guess what? When the car sales would explain this, I start salivating. I'm like, you guys are good explainers. And I'm thinking, they could be so rich if they just did this in property. Because they get it. Okay? Buy now, pay later. Why is that? A car. Does a car go up or down in value? Down. But does everybody say, that's smart? That makes sense. Does everybody accept that that's a smart thing to do? Yeah. But then when you talk about doing it with a house, people go, oh, be careful. What? Why do people say be careful? Because they haven't conceived it. And they don't believe it. And they don't believe it for them, and that's okay. But you can believe it and conceive it for you, and then you'll receive it for you. And then they'll say, you've got to leave. So, what else? Holidays. Buy this holiday now. Go to Croatia, Barbados, and pay for it next summer. Why do these advertisers say this? Why do they want you to buy it now and pay for it later?
Because you don't have to put down too much money. You make it very accessible.
Accessible! It's because people can't afford it. They want it, but they can't afford it. So the advertisers go, right, or the marketers, well, they want this sofa, but they can't afford it. So how can we put together a strategy of making it possible? And guess what I've done? The same for houses. Why? Because when I was 17, I really wanted to buy properties, but I couldn't afford it. So I'm like, how can I put together a strategy where I can buy a house but pay for it later? Now, I just wanted a house because I just wanted a house. I wanted a house because I was just like, I just want the feeling of being able to go, I've got the keys. That's the truth. When I was 19 years old, I'd spent 18 months trying to get a house. I bought my first house when I was 17. And my first house that I bought when I was 17 years old was actually kind of a lease option agreement in a way, but it was really badly done. Would you like to hear the story?
Yeah.
Okay, the worst lease option agreement you can imagine. Never do this. But when I was 17, in 2008, I wanted to buy a house, and the strategy at the time was a little bit like the BRR strategy that people were doing. And I had a lot of money going on courses. I went on different courses with different training providers. Most of them have gone bust now because of the recession that came. Because what they were teaching buy a house for say, find it for 120, negotiate to buy it for 100, below market value, and buy it on a bridging loan, and with angel investors' money or whatever, raise the money, buy it for 100, and then the same day you buy it, cash, refinance it back up to its true value on an 80% mortgage, and then pay back the angel investors and the bridging or whatever, and then you end up with a free house. That was what they were teaching. To be honest, pretty much the same as what we do now, but the only difference is instead of buying it cheap and then refinancing it, we buy it cheap and then we force the value up by adding things like bathroom, whatever, and you'll learn all that. Have you guys been on the Buy Refurbish Finance Masterclass?
Not yet.
Not yet. You been on it? How was it?
Amazing.
Okay, good. So that's the whole strategy of what to do. Now, the problem was, I was 17, I could find the houses, I could even find the money. But the problem was, I was 17. So I had no credit, I was too young to buy a house, I just had nothing, I had no way of buying a house, even though I had the knowledge. So what I did was, I did it, and at the time I didn't know it was a lease option agreement, but it kind of was, but with my stepdad. So what I did is I said to my stepdad, Tim, who I love to this day, I said to him, look Tim, you've got a decent job and credit and stuff like that. I found this house, I found the money, I found the house, I'll be able to refinance it the same day, I'll buy it. But I haven't got the credit or anything like that. So can you buy it in your name, and I, Samuel Leeds, will have an option to buy the property off of you when I can get the credit. And I'll buy it off you, and we'll do it, Tim, so that Tim's will step down, so that you don't profit or lose from the deal. You're literally just hosting the property for me. That was how we agreed the first deal. So Tim bought it for 100 grand, and we financed it for 120. It was a free house. It was in his name, but I had an option to buy it down the line.